Hey everyone, this is Lady Unicorn doing a guest video for Godless Cranium. Thanks GC for giving me this opportunity. While much of the Western world and the internet seems focused on real and hypothetical examples of left-wing extremism, social justice taken to absurdity, and issues with immigrants and Islam, the US still appears to have a different set of problems. Christian groups who aren't satisfied with the freedoms they have and insist on more at the expense of others. Often the freedoms they are insisting on is the freedom to discriminate against people. For example, in May, the Texas Senate approved a bill, the Freedom to Serve Children Act. In June, the governor signed that bill into law. While the title sounds like something meant to benefit or accommodate children, the actual text prevents discriminating against people or agencies that, among other things, refuse to place children in specific homes strictly because of their own strongly held religious beliefs. This is spelled out on page 4, lines 7 through 16 of the bill in the description below. This allows state-funded adoption agencies to refuse on simply religious grounds, even if there is no other reason. One of the articles discussing pointed out that South Dakota passed similar legislation in March. It perhaps also should be noted that this doesn't actually apply to just one religion. A Muslim agency could hypothetically get tax dollars and reject Christian and atheist families based on their own religious beliefs as well. Though, to my knowledge at least, they aren't currently the people who will be using this new freedom. The same Texas law also protects the rights of these agencies to provide the children in their care with religious education and to refuse to refer someone to services to get an abortion or even contraception. Another law being watched by advocates to see if it is somehow allowed is from Mississippi and is called the Protecting Freedom of Conscience from Government Discrimination Act. Interestingly, with this one, I actually found a legal analysis from last year. According to that analysis, this law should never hold up according to our Constitution, though time will tell, as it violates the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. This law actually spells out what sincerely held religious beliefs are protected by it as well. Basically, the ones about restricting sexual relations to marriage between one man and one woman as determined by genetics or birth. After defining that, it continues to prevent the government from discriminating against people who make decisions based on these sincerely held religious beliefs. The decisions it expressly mentions based on this include providing goods or services for weddings, hiring, firing, or disciplining individuals in a workplace environment, renting out housing, foster care, adoption, and refusal to take part in treatments for trans individuals. It also expressly protects the right to set up dress codes and restrictions on who uses the bathroom based on genetics and birth. Finally, it allows government officials to refuse to hand out marriage licenses or perform marriages, provided that doing so does not actually prevent or delay the couple's ability to marry. Basically, it appears to be designed as a way to flip off anyone who doesn't conform. Colorado failed to pass a religious freedom bill that was far more generic, aimed at preventing the government from passing or enforcing laws that were neutral towards religion, but could allegedly place burdens on practicing religious beliefs. This attempt had been praised and supported by some as a way to ensure people could refuse goods or services for gay weddings. It isn't limited to state governments either. Back in 2015, the House proposed the First Amendment Defense Act. Allegedly, they are planning to reintroduce an updated version of the act. Among other things, this bill sought to protect people from discriminatory action by the government, including denying or terminating federal grants, contracts, employment, or benefits, or changing how the tax code handles people for acting, quote, in accordance with a religious belief that marriage is the union of one man and one woman. This was in response to findings such as the fact a religious school might lose its tax-exempt status for opposing same-sex marriage, not a response to somebody being fired from a government job or refused some unrelated tax deduction. Illinois reintroduced a bill to create the Religious Freedom Defense Act, which would do the same thing as the federal First Amendment Defense Act. There have been many more attempts at legislation changing what it means for someone to have their freedom of religion protected in the states. I'll provide some links to more of them in the description of my copy of this video. It is important to note, however, that not everything in all of these bills is bad. Even some of the ones I've mentioned here include things that are good or at least neutral, even though I'm unsure those particular things are addressing actual problems we have. Unlike many of the topics that appear to be focused on online these days, these issues are actually attempting to change the laws of the land. They are not primarily questions of what a private citizen can do on their own, nor canceled business deals or deciding who to let use some resource like a stage or a room. These are directly about being allowed to discriminate against individuals when it comes to the main service an entity is providing, simply because that entity disagrees with their life or what they will do with it later. Some of them are even about ensuring people who discriminate against certain people for religious reasons are still paid by the government for doing so. This is just one of many places discussions seem to fail or miss certain key details. I discuss others on my channel, so if you're interested in that, feel free to drop by and subscribe. And thanks again to Godless Cranium for letting me use his stage to talk about this.